Welcome to Spotlight on Business, a focus of business throughout North Central Washington to see what makes them tick and how they've been successful over the years. On today's program, the YMCA of Wenatchee, Blueberry Hills of Manson, and Lake Chelan mailboxes. It's Spotlight on Business, now on the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Dory Foster, the Executive Director or CEO of the Wenatchee Valley YMCA. I've been in the Y movement since 2003, basically, and I was in Pennsylvania and New York, and now here. So I went from coast to coast, and I wanted to work in a small, very functional YMCA, and I came from a large YMCA in New York and really wanted to get back to the roots of the Y, and that's serving a smaller community and serving this valley. So I started my work as a fitness director professionally in the fitness center, and when I realized the depth and breadth of what we can do and the focus of what we do is a little bit different than the other business models. So I just stayed with it. I thought about moving to other nonprofits and just couldn't grab a hold of the mission like I do here.
Providing quality programming valley-wide, the YMCA faces unique challenges with more than 100 years in upholding roots in Wenatchee.
Since 1910, we've been in this building here. And so the challenges are not only the facility, but the program. So that's the board of directors' responsibility to make sure that always under their charge that we are assessing the community and meeting that need. So back in 1850, when the YMCA was founded in London, or 1860, that was for young men and Christians. And so now, in 2018, we're not all men, we're not all young, and we're not all Christian, and we welcome all. So the YMCA, just of everything we do is to serve the community how best we can. We have a senior aging population. Seniors now don't like to be called seniors, and they're extremely active, so to be able to keep pace and keep program needs available for everybody on that scope, and then our families and kids. So one of the small changes that we made right off the bat, knowing that families are our focus, and they also have the biggest challenges ahead of them in our cultures. So babysitting is now free with a family membership. Something as easy as that we're able to provide, because now everybody can come in, the kids go to babysitting, parents get to work out, and they come together and swim afterwards, family time. So it's quality time together.
What kind of business model does the YMCA follow in order to provide programming and scholarships for Valley residents? Foster breaks it down for us.
So that's the other reason I love the YMCA, because a business model I can stand behind. So basically everything is earned and raised, right? So everything earned supports the lights, salaries, everything. So membership and program fees covers the cost, in theory, of everything. The only thing that we don't earn is scholarships for the kiddos. So last year we served nearly 4,000 kids alone. About 42% of those kids are in need of some sort of scholarship. Sometimes it's 100%, sometimes it's 50%. So we have to fundraise for those kids. Last year it was about $190,000 that we awarded. In July, year to date this July, we've already awarded $161,000 worth of scholarships. Mind you that we really, because we are a nonprofit, we really do everything we possibly can to make sure that it's affordable to all based on our expenses. But when that child or family can't do that, then we come in with the scholarship.
It wouldn't be a spotlight on the YMCA if we didn't take a look at the youth programming. Tessa Maximenko, the Director of Youth Programs, gives us a look at what the Y has going on for local children.
To me, I think our most exciting programs that we have our after-school program. That takes advantage of the opportunity between school life and home life during the school year. We have our summer day camp program, so that's in the summer. That's about building relationships with other children and with the community as well, and with very strong, positive adult role models. We have our Extreme Teens program, so that is for our middle school age. They can be a little tricky, but that's one of the most most rewarding, to really capture their attention and help them learn something about what's available around them. We also have our Out of Bounds program as well, so that's back in the school year. Those couple days that we have out of school, but during the school year, we take advantage of our location at our Y, so we do a lot of walking field trips, and we go out of bounds. So we learn about local businesses, we learn about local entities like the police department, the fire station, and our local government as well.
Curious about the YMCA's fitness center? Lori Van Hannigan, fitness center manager, gives us a peek inside.
The Y actually has two pools. The pool here in this building is a smaller pool, but it's warmer. We use it for therapy swim because of the warmth, kids time swimming, family swim, and fitness class swimming, which is really popular. The other pool is an Olympic pool. It's over in East Wenatchee, and it's amazing because it just has room, and they can do lap swim. We actually do aqua stand-up over in that pool. I'm certified to teach that, which is a blast. I love teaching that. So other things that we have going for us is, you can see behind me, the racks. This is the weight room. It's a pretty cool weight room. Lots of room, but lots of stuff at the same time. We have a circuit area where you can get in and get done with your workout and get on with your day and feel fit and great. We also have several cardio pieces of cardio equipment. We have anything from the new step, which is in a lot of rehab places, so that people can come here after rehab and they're familiar right away with a lot of the equipment. We have body-powered treadmill, and that they have those in a lot of the rehab centers too, because if you're not ready for that treadmill to move under you, then it's ideal.
So what does the future look like for the Wenatchee Valley YMCA?
So we're just finishing up our strategic plan and making sure that we have a good foundation moving forward. So we're working on the relevance. What are we doing to stay relevant in the needs of the community? We're also looking at sustainability. How do we continue this wonderful business model that we have and make sure that we can sustain this indefinitely? And then growth. How do we prepare for growth? Growth meaning, we're at capacity in this building. We have 5 stories. We're not ADA compliant. And how do we better serve the community in this vessel that we've been given? So we either staying here, or do we need to move somewhere else to make us more relevant in the future? So we're tightening up that and figuring out what we want to do in the meantime, and working really hard to make sure, because we're at capacity in our gym, we're at capacity in childcare, we're at capacity all the way around if we're just looking at this vessel. So what do we have to do? It's funny, through this strategic plan, we kept saying over and over again, we really are the best kept secret. And people don't know us until they come in and really take the time. And you shouldn't have to be a board member to learn everything that we do. But we also know that the Eric that comes into the Y to work out only sees this. And when you really start looking beyond the walls and beyond the windows and see the kiddos and babysitting and see the seniors working out and playing to the YMCA song that we just saw, and saw the other more kids, day camp kids upstairs in the fitness center, in the racquetball courts, that's when you start to understand the full breadth of what we're trying to do here.
Don't go away. Coming up next on the Spotlight on Business, we'll head to Manson and find out more about Blueberry Hills. It's right here on the NCW Life channel. Welcome to NCW Life channel's Spotlight on Business. Today we're up here in Manson, Washington, talking about a family that decided to go from apples to blueberries. We're here at Blueberry Farms to find out how they've been such a great success, not just for North Central Washington, but around the country here in Manson.
My name is Carrie Sorensen, and I am owner and manager of Blueberry Hills Farms. We are located in Manson, Washington, and we are a couple miles outside downtown Manson. I'm 5th generation from right here, and my great-great-grandparents homesteaded here back in the early 1900s. So my parents and I actually took out a whole bunch of apples as Grandpa stood and watched, and it was the saddest thing ever as we took those apples out and Dad put in blueberries. And all the people thought we were crazy, and we kind of thought maybe we were too. And we put in the blueberries, and they actually ended up doing really well, even though we're high desert farming blueberries instead of apples, which would really never been done before. So they're doing really well, obviously, and we ended up putting up a little fruit stand that turned into a commercial restaurant, and here we are today. We were discovered by Seattle Times, and we were named one of the top 4 restaurants in the state worth the drive for breakfast. And then we were named just in 2017 the second best destination restaurant in Washington State by King 5 Television's Viewers' Choice Awards. So we've got people that come just for the day. They drive over and back and pick blueberries or have a French dip and spend time with friends and family, and we're just really grateful that they do. Mom and Dad had friends that were the first commercial blueberry growers down in Arkansas. They propagated a whole bunch of bushes, and back in the late 60s, early 70s, and had a little cracker shack down in Arkansas, down a bumpy dirt road to nowhere. And people came and they did U-Pick, which was before U-Pick was ever really heard of. And it was such a unique thing. And they had a few things on their menu, and it ended up being a tour stop. People would jump on buses and come on out, and the Grand Ole Opry actually discovered it, and they'd spend the weekend out there, and they'd sleep on the family cots in the back, and they'd say, "Pauline, you just start cooking and don't stop until I tell you." So, Dad actually met Ed, the son-in-law, back when he went to carpentry school out of high school. So they lost that farm to drought, but they regret ever shutting down that little cafe. So when Dad was considering, why am I putting apples in and making the same mistake? He thought, well, what about blueberries? So he called Ed, and he goes, Ed, you think that, how do you think blueberries would do over here? And Ed goes, well, I think they do great. And so, we ended up putting blueberries in, and, well, they've done great. We are open year-round, and a lot of people don't know that, but we are open from April 1st through October 15th. We are open every day from 8 to 3, and then October 16th through March 31st, we are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, but open the rest of the week, so we can catch up on our laundry and our sanity. We've got 13.5 acres in production of blueberries. We started with 4.5 on the original block, but we've got 3 different properties that actually have blueberries on them. And we're still in production with apples as well. We've got 12.5 acres of that. Yeah, we actually put the plants in 2000, and we saw blueberries. Actually, we saw a few blueberries the first year, but we saw the birds get them as well. So the second year, 2002, we actually got a few blueberries off of them. If you walk in, you'll see 100 years worth of family memorabilia hanging all over the ceiling, and that's because we ran out of money when we were building it. And it's like, well, I wonder what we're going to do now. And then it's like, well, maybe we should go steal stuff from Grandpa's shed. And so then Grandpa got wind of it, and he's like kind of mad about it. And then he kind of realized that we weren't making fun of it. And then he went down and got his Texas Longhorns and brought them up. And at that point, we knew that we had really arrived as far as Grandpa was concerned, and that was a really big deal. We've got a chandelier with a couple hundred eyeglasses and sunglasses that Grandma and Grandpa pack-ratted away over the years. It's true, and we're still finding them. Yeah. People ask Dad all the time, wow, this is really great. You guys must have a lot of restaurant experience. Dad will say, oh, yeah, we had a lot. We've eaten in a lot of restaurants. So, yeah, it's the extent of our restaurant experience. We don't have any restaurant experience. This whole thing was an accident. Wow. So yeah, when you go in Blueberry Hills, you come on in, you grab a menu that's hanging on the post, and I got to tell you the way this whole thing happened. We here's the way it was. I was the first cook, and so I would cook and I would run the cash register, and Mom and Dad would deliver food and bus tables and do the dishes, and it's like, well, are we going to have dishes? We should just have paper plates. And it's like, well, who wants a waffle on a paper plate? Well, that sounds awful. And well, how do we get the dishes to the kitchen? We're going to have to cut a hole in the wall. Well, I don't want a hole in the wall. Who's going to make coffee? I'm not making coffee. So we ended up with real dishes. And Mom would stop and talk, so I had to get one of Grandpa's, big old air horns out to get her back to the kitchen to take waffles out while they were hot. And, the only thing we served when we opened was waffles, blintzes, and a few burgers and pies. And that was it. And we didn't take credit cards. We don't want to mess with credit cards. And then And then we had people that would show up, and it was all they had, you know, because they were over from, you come up from Wapto Point. It's like, wow, this is really neat. And so we're like, well, we don't take credit cards. And so we'd tear off the receipt from the register and hand them a business card. Well, there you go. They're like, are you kidding? And it's like, oh, no, and just send us a check, and they would. Or they didn't, we don't know. The best thing about Blueberry Hills, I would have to say, is that the staff that we've had, I mean, who gets to say as a restaurant owner, and I'm talking to all the restaurant owners out there, you know who you are. My line cooks have been with me for 14 years. 14 years. And they're always in a good mood. When does that happen? Ever, ever, never. But yeah, Ruben and Elpidio, and they live in Grandma and Grandpa's house down here at the bottom of the hill, across the street from me, and they're great. You know, they work that line together. And the thing is, our kitchen's really open. So it's kind of dinner and a show. When you come to Blueberry Hills, you can see what's going on in there. And you can tell how busy it is because you'll see all the stuff all over the floor, hash browns flying. It's pretty great. But, you know, we don't hide anything from people, you know. We're not your run-of-the-mill place, and we're not trying to be. You know, we're not going to lie to you. And, you know, if you want an omelet, we're not your place. You know, if you're looking for an in-and-out place, we're not your place either. You know, we make excellent food. We do huge portions for, you know, family-friendly prices. We do excellent, excellent food, and recipes that Grandma would use, and the best eggs Benedict known to mankind. Great salads and burgers, and you know, chicken fried steak, and just great recipes. If you're looking for an experience, if you're looking for really great food, you should come to Blueberry Hills. You should bring your friends, you should bring your family. You know, it's special, it's different, it's worth it. It's worth the drive.
Coming up next on Spotlight on Business, we'll head to downtown Lake Chelan and meet the Braggs of Lake Chelan mailboxes. It's right here on the NCW Life channel. Welcome back to NCW Life's Spotlight on Business. Today we're in Lake Chelan at a place that's become a staple for locals as well as out-of-towners. We're here at Lake Chelan mailboxes to talk to the owners who have been working here and loving here for 20 years, Jerry and Sherry Bragg.
Hi, welcome to Lake Chelan. I'm Sherry Bragg, and this is my husband,
Jerry. And we're very fortunate. This end of this month will be 20 years in business at the same location, and we've enjoyed every second of it.
20 years, hon? I was only going to do it for 5. Starting at the front door, we have a color copier, and then we have our wide format in which to do the blueprints, or we can do posters and embarrass people to death. And they can be very tall. They can be 36 by 48 if you really want to embarrass them. And then we have our cards, and we also do our notarizing, faxing, surprisingly. We do a lot of faxing still because banks and medical facilities, they want faxes. They don't want it emailed. And we also have all of our supplies for mailing and shipping and some office supplies. And then we have our computer in which the customer is able to use. And then lastly, we have our mailboxes, which are full. We only have just a couple of large boxes left. Comes up.
Private mailboxes gives people the opportunity to run their own personal life or a business with a street address. And we receive FedEx and UPS besides the postal system for our mailbox customers at no additional cost to them. So it gives them that advantage so they can be gone or not physically here when a UPS or a FedEx delivery happens. And that's part of the advantage. The other real advantage is it gives you a street address versus a P.O. box number.
And we also do forwarding to our snowbirds. And some of our snowbirds like to travel all around, and we are able to give them the advantage of us following them and sending their mail to wherever they are.
Jerry says his experience growing up in Manson is what drew the couple back to the area for their business.
Grew up on the north shore at the end of the road here on the north side of the lake, and lakefront property. We had 1 square mile when I was a youngster. And when we first got married back in the late 60s or mid 60s,
Now you're giving our age away.
there weren't any jobs available here for us, so we both went into banking. When our daughter unfortunately passed away unexpectedly in '97, we just decided we needed a change from the coast environment, and my wife wanted to come back into banking a little bit, and we had a summer home here, and we moved back. She went back to banking, and then she said, I want a business.
So I was only going to run it for 5 years, is what I was thinking. And as you know, as my husband mentioned, 20 years later, we're still having fun doing it.
After their daughter's passing in 1997, Sherry says starting the new business was cathartic and helped her through the pain.
In fact, she gave me a lot of encouragement in which to, it's kind of scary to start your own business, and it was a lot of encouragement for me to succeed in this, and it did. It gave me something in which to do and continue to do, and we both enjoy doing it. We are definitely a moms and pop store. We love talking politics. We love talking about the fires, anything that's going on in the community, and everybody comes in and visits for longer than I think they had thought they were going to stay.
The Braggs make a constant effort to support their tight-knit community, whether it be by assisting with extra fees for documents for families in need or supporting local firefighting efforts. From custom-built train sets to fully decorated Christmas trees, the Braggs say they've seen just about everything come through their shop.
We have the hotels will bring things in that are left at the hotel room and ship through us, and we charge the customer. We had dentures come in, and I was wondering, how in the world could the guy even have breakfast? How could he leave his dentures? But they found the dentures. I didn't enjoy packing those.
Well, one thing's for sure, when you go to Lake Chelan mailboxes, you'll hear a story.
How many people ask about your hand?
Oh, on an average, maybe.
It's probably more. Yeah.
And they've all stopped picking their nose.
I probably get 3 or 4 requests or inquiries a month. It's just one of those things. This was the sawmill where Mill Bay Boat Launch is now. Used to be the sawmill, Lake Chelan Box Company. And this was the year I got out of high school.
Wow. No kidding.
Had done the same job for 3 years.
But I was curious if you had a ready-made answer for the kids when they asked that question. Or
Yeah, I said, you know,
Don't pick your nose.
don't pick your nose, because Mom and Dad will slap your hand.
What about the future? The Braggs say they'll continue their venture even through the changes in technology.
We don't know when we'll quit because it's a fun business to do.
It's one of those businesses where we can lock the door at night, go home, and not have to worry about it. It's not like, oh gosh, we should have done this, we should have done that, what happened here. And I mean, it's in the carrier's hands once it goes out the back door. And we've done everything we can to get it that far. Somewhere down the road with electronics, as they're progressing with the Amazons of the world and the Googles, we'll see a dramatic reduction in it.
With 20 years of experience behind them at Lake Chelan mailboxes, the Braggs have a piece of advice for all of your shipping this holiday season.
This coming holiday season being a little unique in the fact that Christmas falls on a Tuesday this year, and we highly recommend people get their shipping done by Friday the 21st of December, because we will be closed on the 21st until Wednesday the 26th, simply because nothing is going to move on Monday the 24th. So we'd like to recommend people really consider this holiday season and start Thanksgiving or before thinking about getting that shipment to Aunt Sally in southern Arkansas early December.
Thanks for watching this episode of Spotlight on Business on the NCW Life channel. Thanks to the gang at the YMCA, Carrie at Blueberry Hills, and the Braggs at Lake Chelan mailboxes. Be sure to tune in for another episode next week on the NCW Life channel.